Thank you for watching. I'm here with Catherine Begay. She is running in District 23, House District 23,
Yes.
correct? Yeah. You came out of the western part of the state, correct? Out
Yes,
of
I
Tohatchee
did.
area, I think you said? Closer to Gallup, right?
Yes, Tohatchee is north of Gallup. That's where I was born. I'm Navajo, obviously. And so that's where I was born, and that's where I was raised for the first few parts of my life.
Yeah. McKinley County, is that part of the county you grew up in? Or is
Yes, it
so,
is.
yeah. It's one of the toughest counties. I mean, there's a lot of issues there and stuff. We don't pay attention to it, probably because it's not, I don't know, it's in part of the area, state where they say, well, maybe we don't need to pay attention to it. Let's pay attention to Bernalillo County, Sandoval County and stuff. You became an attorney, so tell us what I was during the break I was asking you, why did you get into law?
Right.
What was the reason?
Actually, the reason why I became an attorney is because I wasn't going to become a doctor. My mom had always thought, I was going to be Dr. Begay, I was going to be the one to go back to the Navajo reservation.
That sounds good though, Dr. Begay, right?
That's exactly right. That's why she wanted it to be Dr. Begay too. But what she failed to remember was that I am not so good with the blood and stuff like that. So when I saw my first autopsy, I knew that, I was going to find a different path. So that's how I became an attorney. I went to UNM for undergraduate. I double majored in biology and sociology. It was really important to me to make sure that I covered the two areas that were, really important to me. Where do some of the social problems that we have come from? Is it biology, because that's how we're born, or are they our social structures? And so that's why I covered those two. And then I went on to law school.
You went to UNM Law?
I went to UNM Law School.
Good school, great school.
It's a great school.
I think it's had very decent reviews. Everybody likes it. We've talked to a lot of people. I know a few judges Miles Hennessy was here. He's been here. There's a few others mentioned. I don't remember all of them, but right now I have a few judges that come through here.
Oh yes.
And there was David Standridge. I think he's running for. He's.
I saw a few of them that you have interviewed before,
yes.
and they're great colleagues of mine. I appear in front of them. So UNM does produce some great attorneys in the state, and certainly advocates around the state.
So when you first got out, you went into defense, or did you?
You know what I wanted to do after I graduated from law school? In law school, I did a lot of writing, a lot of appellate work, and was the editor-in-chief of the New Mexico Law Review. So upon graduation, I thought I was going to be this great appellate attorney. I was going to stand in front of the Supreme Court of the United States and argue cases, convince them to my side. So I got a great opportunity with the Public Defender Department in Santa Fe, and wrote appeals for about 2.5 years. It's really solitary work. It's you and your computer, and that's about it. And I know a lot about myself, and I'm the type of person who wants to be around people and talking, and so that's why I transitioned into trial work.
So you did a lot of trial work and stuff?
I've done a lot of trial work. In fact, I've practiced at least here in Albuquerque in the Metro Court, and then in the District Court as well. I have argued before the Supreme Court of this state, and I've argued certainly around the state in lots of different cases. So I have an extensive history, with law and being an attorney.
So I think, in legislation you have to understand a lot of policies have to do with legalities and how they affect everything. Anything that stuck out to you as far as your law career that you feel like was beneficial as far as your current state?
Sure, I think that being an attorney.
I'm not pinning down to any specific case, but I'm just saying as far as the career itself, how it shapes individuals sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I can certainly tell you that being an attorney means that everything that I do is related to the law. I read the statute books. I read the changes in the law. I understand why sometimes policy affects law. I understand how judicial law is made. It makes me well qualified to go into this next step of my career, to be a representative for the people of District 23.
So what are your core issues of your district? Anything specific that you think, because there's so many vast differences there as far as economic structures, right? So you're looking at Corrales, pretty affluent in some parts. You're looking at Rio Rancho, Intel area parts of it, and there's a lot of individuals that live there, blue collar. So how is it, what are you hearing? You feel like this is a district that you would like to represent the differences
Oh
there and
yes,
all that?
absolutely. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have stepped up to
Yeah.
do this to represent these people if I didn't feel like we had a need in that community. District 23 does include the Rio Rancho part of it, and I think we've probably all read in the news about how Intel is losing jobs. You know, it's right there in the middle of the city, in the middle of the district actually, and so you know how much it can expand or what it can do to expand is probably pretty limited. But it is, Rio Rancho is the city of vision, meaning they want to move forward and progress a little bit. But with Intel, one of the big heavyweights in the district, losing jobs, that's not a great forecast.
Do you think they're going to stay?
You know, I don't know what they're going to do long term, but I hope to be part of the solution to help them stay and also to expand. You know, Rio Rancho has a lot of land out there on its west side, not part of my district, but certainly impacting the people in my district. On the other hand, I want to make sure that the people of Corrales are allowed to maintain, you know, the life that they have there. They moved to Corrales for that very reason. The long-term families that have been there have stayed for the very rural, you know, nature of the place, and it should not be overcome simply because people think they should change.
It's such a unique pocket there. When
It
you look
is.
at Corrales,
Right.
Even when you look at it from the satellite, it looks like a very isolated area.
That's
it's like a
right.
little mini area within the city itself.
It is.
I always like that area. It's a beautiful area.
It
Some
is
parts
beautiful.
of Corrales is beautiful.
And you know,
yeah.
a lot of, this is a really interesting difference. In Corrales, a lot of the homes are set on 1 acre pieces.
Correct.
So knocking door to door means you walk an acre for each door. Compare that to the other part of the
Tough district as far as...
It's a tough walking
yes,
district,
very
but
tough, yeah.
but certainly when you get to the Albuquerque side of it, you know, there's a lot of, you know, stacked homes there. There's
a lot
apartment
easier
complexes.
as far as getting to the constituents. A lot
It
easier,
might be,
yeah.
but they're working families too, which means they're not always home when I knock on their door. And so I use opportunities like this to make sure that they know who I am and that they can put a name to a face when they get to the ballot.
Yeah, we cover pretty much the whole Bernalillo, Sandoval County and stuff. So when the show airs, I mean, you'll be watched all over the pretty much the whole city.
Good.
So wherever the cable subscribers are, it's
Yes.
through Comcast cables and stuff. Going back to Intel, there's always rumors that Intel's going to leave, Intel's going to leave, you know. So now we're hearing Intel's planning to leave 2016. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know what kind of, if they're looking for incentives. Sometimes corporations have a way of saying, well, if you were to give us incentives, we might stay. Do you think that we can, are they looking for any incentives? Are you hearing anything? Because
know,
if they left,
Right.
it could devastate that area.
Right, it absolutely would devastate that area.
and-
It is, it's their anchor. It's their anchor in that district.
Well, they built that whole area.
Yes.
This Rio Rancho was built. I remember the time before Intel and after post Intel,
Yes.
I realized there was nothing there.
That's right.
Intel came in, brought all these different, you know, areas there. The entire city of Rio Rancho, City of Vision, built on Intel's support and their. So I'm not sure if they're looking for incentives because they're moving a lot of their jobs to Arizona.
Yes.
And I don't know if there is some economic incentives or something that they're looking for. But then,
Well, and if they are, those are things that we should consider. It doesn't mean that just because we consider them that we're going to do those things. But certainly I think that the city councilors in Rio Rancho need to consider that. I think people who are going to represent that district need to learn more about it. And that's what I'm doing.
you're going and talking to a lot of people. Are you dealing with a lot of businesses in that area, or is it just mostly individuals?
You know, all the way up
Small
the
businesses
course,
like micro business with mama, you know, like I'm talking about mama and papa owned businesses.
well,
2 or
all the
3
way
employees.
up, my district goes from Coors and Montano all the way up to Sabana Grande and Angel Road, both in Rio Rancho and then Corrales. So it's all along that 520 Coors to 528 corridor, which is just completely, all the side streets there are businesses. And when you get into Corrales, there's small businesses right along the road. So it is, you know.
What are the
it's-
small businesses telling you? What are they saying? Like individual, like micro businesses with 2 employees, 3. What are they telling you?
You know, a lot of them just want to make sure that they can keep staying in business, that they can have people who actually have money to spend in the district. And so they actually would benefit from people having the minimum wage raised.
They would benefit from it, but the majority of them are against it. They're against raising the minimum wage. They're thinking that it hurts the businesses because they have to pay more.
It doesn't hurt businesses when people have money to spend in their business.
Correct, exactly, yeah. Let me take another break. We'll come back.
Sure.
We'll talk a little bit more, okay?
Sure.
All right, thank you. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.